With us now is Ed Thompson. He's our town administrator, and we have just had the opening ceremonies of our 350th birthday for the town of Sudbury. Ed, I understand that we had with us a couple of the mayors of Sudbury from England and from Sudbury in Canada. They gave us a couple of gifts. Can you tell us about them?
Yes, the thing that I'm holding in front of me now that you're looking at is a gift from the mayor of Sudbury, England, Sylvia Byham. And I'll now, show you the gift from Sudbury.
Okay. What is this, a picture of Sudbury, England?
Yes, it's a historical picture of Sudbury, England.
Okay.
Suffolk.
And, of course, a couple of our people went to visit Sudbury, England this year, so this is now a return visit by them.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, our visitors from Sudbury, Ontario, have also given us a gift.
Yep.
Okay, what do we have here now? I see there's a plaque also on the front of it.
Yes, this is a gift from the mayor of Sudbury, Ontario. It's very heavy, as you can see it now. It weighs approximately 25 to 35 pounds, and it's a beautiful gift.
It looks like it's a replica of a bear and a beaver. Is there any significance to this? Are they animals indigenous to their area?
They are indigenous to Sudbury, Ontario, plus Sudbury, Ontario is famous for its mining of nickel.
I see.
It is one of the largest producing nickel factories in the world.
So, and the inscription says, presented to Sudbury, Massachusetts, United States of America, on the occasion of the 350th anniversary celebrations by the city of Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, September 1989. Thanks very much, Ed.
Thank you.
We certainly enjoy having you here at the opening ceremonies. Tell me a little bit about some of your reactions to all this.
Well, it's certainly a festive occasion, and I think everybody in town is turning out to participate in the celebrations, which I guess are going to go on all weekend long.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3-day celebration.
And I'm looking forward to the flag raising tomorrow. And I do have a resolution from the House of Representatives that we adopted on Thursday, in which I talk a little bit about, this town of Sudbury and the contributions that it's made not only to the Commonwealth but also to really to this nation. And in that resolution, I talk about a couple of things, and one of them is the community spirit of the people in Sudbury and how they have gone through such a change from a very agricultural community to one that is really on the frontiers of some of the high-tech business right here on the hub of all of those things, and really becoming a suburban area now. And yet, through it all, the people of Sudbury have been able to pass on to their children a sense of history and a sense of this community spirit. And I think that's what, you're seeing just bubbling up, right now.
Well, Sudbury's always been pretty well known for letting its wishes be known. And
Absolutely.
I'm sure that's been your experience as our state representative.
I should tell you a couple of experiences I had when I first went to the House and was representing Sudbury, and they said, oh, you mean the Sudbury case? And what I'm finding is that Sudbury was really instrumental in establishing a lot of precedent-setting legislation as far as taxation goes, and also, the town meeting form of government. I mean, Sudbury has nurtured that, through these 350 years, and that certainly made an enormous contribution. The whole concept of a public forum where anybody who is a member in the town, a citizen in the town, has a right and a privilege to come and speak out and tell what they think.
Well, it's our purest form of democracy, and we expect to hold on to it for another 350 years.
I hope so. We won't be here to see it, Mary Jane, but if the traditions in this town are passed on the same way for the next 350, that open forum democracy will be intact.
Well, thank you, Seal. And our representative, Seal Hicks, of course, is one of the people who maintains our spirit of democracy here. She always makes sure that she listens to us as her constituents. Thank you, Seal.
Thank you so much. Have a nice weekend.
Thanks. Mayor of Sudbury, Sylvia Byham, and her husband, Roy, Earlier this year, a group of people from Sudbury went to visit Sudbury, England, as one of the festivities that we had planned for our 350th birthday. Because they were so gracious as the hosts to our people, we of course wanted to be sure that they were here to celebrate our 350th in Sudbury, Massachusetts. Mayor Byham, do you want to tell me a little bit about our visitors coming to you and the visit that you're enjoying with us?
Well, when Anne Donald came to see us in my town of Sudbury, she brought with her lovely weather, and I'm delighted that I've done the same. We enjoyed the visitors immensely. It was fun taking them all over our countryside. Her visit was far too short, but she has promised that she'll come back to us again with another party, and this we look forward to immensely next year. What do I think of your town? What do I think of your country? This is our first visit. Certainly won't be our last visit.
We're happy to hear that.
The people are absolutely delightful, so generous. We have got one complaint. They give us far too much to eat. Far too much. There's far too much food. But absolutely delightful country. Cleanliness is remarkable. Very clean country. Very big. Very beautiful. And it's lovely to be here. And I would like to extend to viewers the best wishes of the people of my township of Sudbury and Suffolk. And I hope we'll come back again. And on behalf of my husband and myself, thank you very much for your hospitality, your generous ways, and sharing your lovely town with us. Thank you so much.
We're so happy to have you both with us. And I wonder, since this is a little bit different for us over here, your badge of office, as I'm thinking of it, looks as if it must have a very interesting history to it.
Yes, the badge of office is reputed to be 500 years old. It has a long history. We were very pleased when we were allowed to bring it out of the country. We had to go through certain formalities, but the insurance companies won't put a price on this because it's irreplaceable. All around the back are the dates of my predecessors going back to the 13th century. The dog on the bottom is the insignia of my town of Sudbury, and it's said to be taken from the cloth of Simon of Sudbury, who was Archbishop of Canterbury in his time, and he went on to be Chancellor of all England. Unfortunately, he was executed, and history says that the people from my town wanted his body, wanted his remains, and the people who executed him wouldn't let us have them. So some warrior cut off his head, and we have the head in Sudbury to this day, which is in a case, and somewhere else in England is the body. I hope sooner or later it comes together. We feel he belongs to us because he was Simon of Sudbury. This was on the bottom of all his clothes. This was his Talbot. We call it the Talbot of Sudbury, and this is our coat of arms.
Well, we've been known to be a little difficult on our politicians over here, but I think that beats anything that we've heard. Roy, perhaps you might like to say a few words about your visit with us also.
Well, I've got nothing to add, really. She said it all. It's been most pleasurable. We enjoyed it very much, and we still are enjoying it.
I understand that you had dinner at the inn last night.
Yes, yeah. Again, too much to eat, but can't really grumble at that, can we? No.
It's a super place to stay at the Wayside Inn. I highly recommend it. I don't think anyone needs my recommendation because it's full, absolutely full. It's bursting at the seams. The staff are, well, they're out of this world. I can't praise them enough. They are absolutely super to be here. I'm being thoroughly spoiled. I have roses from the garden and roses in my bedroom, flowers in my bedroom from the local florist, bottles of wine. Our room is filled with gifts from your wonderful town, and I do thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Our mayor from Sudbury, England, and her husband, Roy. Thank you for being with us. We've had many events going on here today, one of which has been the raising of the Mount Rushmore flag. During the raising of the flag, we had a cannon salute by a battery that dates back to the Civil War. With me today is Peter Albee of Sudbury and Peter Jorgensen of Arlington. Peter, you might tell us a little bit about how the battery got started and a little bit about the people who are in this particular company.
Okay. The battery is made up of a lot of people from all over Massachusetts, and we have members even from Maine and from Connecticut also belong. The battery actually got started back around 1963 in reenacting the Civil War. And we also shoot these things in competition, which is part of the North-South skirmish. And we also shoot Civil War carbines, and we shoot Civil War muskets, and Civil War pistols, too. So this is just one phase of our shooting. And today we do come and we do demonstrations for people to see. There's not too often they have a chance to see some real nice Civil War cannons. So this is basically how the battery got started.
Okay, and your uniforms are authentic from original patterns, aren't they?
Yes, like the sword and some of the equipment is original, but the uniforms, of course, are the original copies.
So these would have been inherited, these swords?
Yeah, right. They've been handed down, from generation to generations.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you tell me what the epaulet means? What badge of rank is this?
Well, actually, they're not ranked. They go back when you used to have to fight with artillery sabers. This was to protect your shoulders from hit from other sabers.
I see. Okay. Peter Jorgensen from Arlington, I understand you're the man who is collecting this Civil War cannon. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about how you got started on what I would consider an unusual collection, and maybe a little bit about the cannon itself.
Well, I've been into cannon shooting since 1966, so that's quite a few years now, and some years ago started collecting original Civil War cannon. And today we have 3 original bronze guns here at this demonstration this afternoon. I have a number of guns, and some of them are on original carriages. The one right behind you is on an original carriage, and all 3 of the tubes are original.
Okay, maybe we might have you come around to the side over here and talk to us a little bit about the cannon.
All right, this gun is what we're standing by is a 24-pounder James rifle. It started out, it was cast in 1854 in Chicopee, Mass. as a model 1841 heavy 12-pounder. It was a 12-pounder smoothbore, but then in 1861 for the Civil War, it had rifling lands and grooves cut into it in order to fire the elongated rifled projectile, which was much more accurate. This gun was accurate to about 2,000 yards, which is a little over a mile.
Now I see this, what looks almost like a torch to me. I suppose that's what set off the gunpowder charge, is it?
No, that's actually behind me is a sponge used for cleaning the barrel between shots, yes.
So how do you set it off?
We fire it with a friction primer, which is a little copper tube with a charge of gunpowder in it and a friction compound similar to a kitchen match on the top of it, and it has a wire that rubs through that friction compound. I have one of them here in my hand. It's a friction primer. And when the lanyard pulls this wire out, it's just like striking a match. Sets off the gunpowder in the tube, and that goes down through the vent into the cannon into the main charge, and that's what fires the gun.
Now,
so
when you're loading the cannonball, is that is that the breech? Is that the proper?
Yes, that's the breech, but we load it from the muzzle. All of these are muzzle loaders.
From the muzzle. Okay,
yes.
So it can be done both ways then, depending on the type of cannon you have.
Yes, but these are all muzzle loaders from the Civil War era. Breech loaders were just being developed during the Civil War, and there were experiments with them, but the primary arm of the Civil War were muzzle loading guns.
Okay, now were these on the Confederate side or the
These are all Union guns.
side? They're all Union guns, and these are all Union officers that are Union uniforms that I see you in over here. How many cannon do you have altogether?
Well, I have 14.
14?
14, right. But,
does that give you a storage problem?
Yes, it does. Actually, I have about 8 that we use regularly. 8 of the 14 are on carriages, and we use regularly for demonstrations and for shooting in competition. We do a lot of shooting. The 10th Battery, as Peter Albee mentioned, we are the North-South Skirmish Association national champions, and we have been 4 times. And that's keeping all the holes together at 200 yards. You have to be able to shoot a real tight group with a projectile at 200 yards in order to even classify in this kind of competition. It's very, very tight competition.
And you've made 4 consecutive championships?
Well, we've made 2 consecutive ones the last 2 years in a row, and we had won the championship twice before, so 4 times in the last 5 years.
That must mean you all work very well together.
Yes, we do, yeah. It's a challenge, and it's a lot of fun. It's noisy, that's for sure.
We found that out when you raised the
flag
flag
today,
a little bit earlier. This has been an interview with Peter Jorgensen, Peter Albee, two of our members from the Civil War
10th
Battery.
Massachusetts Battery.
10th Massachusetts Battery from the Civil War. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Mary Jane Hillery, and with me is Mark Valentine. Mark is the keeper of the Mount Rushmore flag. We had the flag-raising ceremony this morning, and Mark is going to tell us about it.
Yes, we raised it this morning. The whole town was here to raise the flag. The flag weighing 325 pounds, 45 by 90 feet. It was commissioned by the National Park Service and remains an official exhibit of the Department of the Interior's Take Pride program. We've flown it all day. We're going to take it down about 4:30, which takes almost 400 people just to fold it.
Is that right? Are there 400 of us to help you?
I think so. There always is. Right.
I see. And you said that there was a Take Pride program.
Right.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Well, the Take Pride program, which is attached to the Department of the Interior, is a special program in this country to draw focus on our public lands in general, the care and upkeep, that these are all our national treasures that we must all take a part in keeping up.
Mm-hmm. You might give me a little background on Mount Rushmore.
Well, Mount Rushmore is our national shrine to democracy, dedicated to the founding, preservation, and growth of our country as embodied by these four men who never lost sight of the simple concept in which our country was founded. And that is that man has the right to be free and to be happy. And this flag was commissioned in 1987 to cover Mount Rushmore, to cover Lincoln's face for his 50th rededication. It's been on a 2-year journey and just returned to Rushmore this July, where it covered the face of Roosevelt. To mark his 50th rededication.
Okay, and our other two presidents?
Which are Washington and Jefferson. They've already been rededicated. The flag now starts a 2-year journey. This Made in Massachusetts flag was sewn together at the Kennedy Library. It starts this 2-year journey back to Mount Rushmore, where in 1991 it'll be used to dedicate the entire monument.
So you spend your time traveling around with the flag?
We're all
Mark.
volunteers. You can
right?
all serve your country, sometimes very special
Wonderful.
and unique ways.
So you do this as a volunteer service?
As a volunteer service. We're volunteers with the National Park Service.
Well, we're very thrilled and pleased to have you here with us in Sudbury.
Well, we're honored because the flag brings with it a very special blessing of goodwill, which is upon the town.
Yes. How often do you travel? Is it all the time?
All the time. Always
so you're
on the
never
road.
in one place?
That's right.
You must have seen almost all of the 50 states.
Not
in
yet,
that
but we're
case.
planning on it.
Almost.
Right.
Thank you so much for being
you.
with us for our 350th celebration.
Thank you very much.
The flag will again be lowered at 4:30 p.m., at which time we will have the ceremony again, and we will have the cannon fire from our Massachusetts Brigade. This is Sudbury Cablevision, Channel 61, bringing you the events of the 350th celebration. We're having a 3-day party over here to celebrate the fact that we're now 350 years old. Among the events today, we have had with us the Sweet Adelines. And with me is Avis Wright, who is the president of the Sweet Adelines, and our chorus director, who is Diane Osborne.
Right.
Perhaps, Avis, you might tell us a little bit about how things have started with the Sweet Adelines. I know you've been with us for a little while.
Yes, I have. I've been with Sweet Adelines for some time. I've been with Sweet Adelines for some time, but our Wayside Chorus is actually celebrating its 40th charter date this year.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been with them for 6 years, however.
Okay, so maybe you can tell us a little bit more about it.
Wayside is just a chapter of Sweet Adelines Incorporated, which is throughout the world. So when you say Sweet Adelines, you speak of about 44,000 women throughout the United States and the world, and we are just a small portion of that.
I didn't realize you were international.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So we are the Wayside chapter of Sweet Adelines, and we are from Sudbury. We are part of Region 1, which takes in Canada and all of New England and Connecticut and anything, nothing in New York anymore. So we're just a small, tiny little dot on a huge map.
Now, I've associated you with Marlborough, and maybe because the first time I saw you might have been in Marlborough.
All right, well, let me tell you this, that approximately 5 years ago, we, a very small Neshoba chorus and the Marlborough chorus, which was larger, merged into one, and that's when 5 years ago we became Wayside Chorus and kept the old Marlborough charter date, which is 40 years old. We kept the oldest charter date, which was Marlborough's 40.
All right, so there is a reason for me associating you with Marlboro.
That's correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, in the program today, what made you choose the songs that you did?
Well, our director will answer that.
Okay.
Well, we have a repertoire that we learn every year, and we build on it, and we grow on it. And one of the things we wanted to do was be upbeat and be up-paced. So many of our faster songs or up-tunes were chosen for today. We also put in some nostalgia for the group that we thought would be here.
That sounds like my speed.
Okay. And we added some patriotism with it, which is what it's all about. And obviously by what our costume we have on today, we added that. And we took the program and took 45 minutes and kind of combined it. And that's how we came to the program of today.
Now, it looks like this is an original, the costumes that you have on.
Oh, yes, we have wonderful costume people, generally changing each year. So
committee,
a costume committee. There's a chairperson, and then she has a committee that works under her. Everyone works very, very hard. Many of the ladies make their own costumes. And when they don't, they have others from the chorus that will make them for them. And but everything is very original. Yes, you're right there.
Now, do you get together, once a week, once a month?
Once a week. At least once a week. And we're getting ready for our show in November, and Avis will be able to tell you about that. And at this time of the year, here we go. We have a few extra rehearsals at houses so that the ladies can learn their particular part a little bit better, because it does take a long time. And people will put in a little bit of extra time to learn the music that we're learning for our show. So it's basically once a week, but sometimes
we do whatever it takes to make it
really
great.
Good.
And our show is in November. It is actually, we have at one time had a show right here at Lincoln Sudbury High School. We try, last year it was Acton. We try and cover, the entire area here, so we don't leave anyone in our audience out. This year it will be at the Framingham High School. It will be 8 o'clock on November the 11th. It's a Saturday evening. It's going to be a sellout.
Sure is.
I would say, tickets are very reasonable. They're less than $10. The house will be filled, so if people are interested in coming, they should definitely get their tickets ahead of time. They will soon be available. They're probably available this week.
And where can they get them?
Any chorus member, we have flyers here today that we're passing out. My number is 369-5780 in Concord, and anyone can call. I'll be sure they have tickets, no problem. It's going to be a great show. It is Broadway tunes. There's no one that will not recognize all of the songs, but it's certainly several of the songs from our show.
We're even doing choreography from one, and really taking the original choreography and really working on it. Yeah.
Well,
great.
We know from seeing these ladies today that it can't help but be a super performance. You've heard where it's going to be. You've heard how to get your tickets. Come on down and see the Sweet Adelines again when they do their repeat performance on November 11th. This has been Mary Jane Hillery with Sudbury Cablevision, Channel 61. This is Sudbury Cablevision, Channel 61, bringing you the events of Sudbury's 350th anniversary celebration. Among the many events today has been a performance by the Fife and Drum Company, long a member of the Sudbury scene. With me is Dan Moylan, a longtime member of the Fife and Drum Corps, who will tell us a bit about the background of the Fife and Drum.
The Fife and Drum in Sudbury was organized, or reorganized, I should say, in 1964 to participate in leading the Minutemen from Sudbury to Concord on the annual April 19th extravaganza, where the militia marched from Sudbury to Concord, reenacting the 1775 event. We dress in colonial costume, not in uniform. We play Revolutionary War era tunes, and we enjoy what we do.
Well, I understand that the fifes you play have a history to them, Dan. Do you want to tell me about that?
Well, one set of the fifes that we play was made from timbers of the Wayside Inn. There was a a fire. There were several fires in the Wayside Inn, one in 55 and one in 64, I believe. And there were timbers salvaged from the inn, and one of our Fife and Drum Company members, Russ Kirby, took these timbers, cut them up, and made fifes of them, which we play with great pride.
Now, you're part of almost all these celebrations and events we have here, Dan. How about some of the things you do outside of Massachusetts?
Well, besides the usual Sudbury 4th of July parade, Memorial Day parade, we participate in many fife and drum musters that take place in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut. And these are gatherings of fife and drum corps from all over New England. And they're not competitions, they're gatherings where fife and drum companies come together, they play their tunes for the edification and entertainment of the public and the other corps. It's a great time, and we all enjoy the hearing of the colonial, revolutionary, and up to Civil War type music.
Now, as I understand it, there's no age limit. Neither you can't be too young and you can't be too old to join the Fife and Drum Corps.
Well, actually, there are a lot of different types of corps. In Connecticut, they have junior corps, they have senior corps. Our particular corps gets some criticism because we only accept males between the ages of 10 and 100. And so there is a lower limit, although there have been some exceptions from kids who really knew the tunes and could play when they came in. But we take almost anyone.
Thank you, Dan Moylan. The Sudbury Fife and Drum can be seen almost every Wednesday during the summer months, playing down at the Wayside Inn for the entertainment of the guests and people who come to dinner there. Be sure to stop by and see them. They're a treat. They play the tunes of the colonial days, as Dan has told you, Wednesdays at Wayside Inn during the summer months. Thank you, Dan, for being with us. Channel 61, bringing you the events of Sudbury's 350th anniversary celebration. Part of the celebration today included a group that gave a demonstration of a contra dance. And I'm going to let Joseph and Jackie Bausk here explain to you what the contra dances are and how they came to be a part of our Sudbury celebrations. Jackie, I understand that you were pretty instrumental in starting the idea of the contra dances.
We started dancing in 1980.
Relatively late in the game as far as the Minute Militia were concerned.
Yes, but we felt if we reenact the 18th century, we should do 18th century dancing.
So this started pretty much with the April 19 ball at the Wayside Inn.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And did they have a demonstration that came to the ball? How did you first learn about this?
There was a group that came to put on a demonstration at our ball. Mm-hmm. And after that, we took lessons for a while, and then we learned our own and had the music and printed, and we've learned new dances since then.
Now, Joe, you've had a long-time association with the Sudbury Minute and Militia. How's it feel getting out of your work costume and into your dance costume?
It's just normal routine.
So, at the ball now, you change, of course, from one dress to another.
One dress? One mode.
When I say one dress, I guess I'll say one form of 18th century dress
right.
into another.
Yeah, we have a battle dress that we have, which would be a normal farmer, and then when we go into the balls, then we wear the dress clothes.
Now, do I understand that you have started to become such a master at this that you're able to give lessons in contra dancing?
Well, we have. I'm the instructor for the Sudbury group.
Mm-hmm. Now, who are the people that are in the group with you?
The McGinnis family. There's Joyce and Ron McGinnis and Jackie McGinnis. She dances with one of my sons. Mm-hmm. And Brooke McGinnis and Everett Bigwood, Mary Ann Bigwood. We have Bob Childs, our future colonel, and
with Brian Bausk and Brett Bausk.
Brene Bausk.
And there's a number of people. We have about 12 couples, basically, that dance.
John Dennis and Judy Dennis also are regular dancers.
Now, how often do you put on this demonstration?
Well, we put on the demonstration maybe 4 times a year. We do it in the State House in May every year, and when we're invited to different festivities, then we do it.
Yeah, mostly we dance for our own pleasure. We'll dance
occasion?
at musters and different events that we go to.
What's the occasion at the State House that brings you there?
It's Lafayette Day.
Lafayette Day. Mm-hmm. All right. So this is something now that you do
with the
as an offshoot,
right?
And
which
as
is
a pleasurable thing.
Yeah, it's a company of the Rochambeau's Army, which is the regiment of St. Ange.
Now you mentioned that you went down to Yorktown to do this too. Mm-hmm. Are there other festivities that are going on at this time? Is this a part of a whole general celebration?
Right now, no. There's a big battle coming up in Salem, New Hampshire, which is September 15th, 16th, and 17th.
So you'll be there the weekend?
The whole weekend, yeah.
Okay. We put on a living history demonstration as well as the battle reenactment, and then we dance for our own pleasure. And there are other groups join in and dance with us.
Well, it's nice to see that you've made this a whole family program. I think it's a great thing to have the kids doing this sort of thing with you together.
Well, they love it. They
do?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's probably Mother who has put together the costumes for them.
Oh, yes.
Or am I being
chauvinist?
No, she has. She's done an excellent job, too.
The whole family.
And these costumes, the patterns, are they authentic from the correct century? Have you researched them?
We've done a lot of research. We try to be as authentic as possible. We have a lot of resources, and we have resource people as well as an extensive library and 18th century clothing.
So that when somebody watches you, they know that they're watching it just as it was done back in the 1700s.
Right. And if anybody wants to join the Sudbury Minute Militia, we're certainly welcome to come to our meetings. We meet usually the first Monday of every month, and we do have patterns that are available for anyone that does need them.
Okay, and if somebody wanted to join your contra dance group, they would do the same thing. Who would they get in touch with?
Yeah, they can contact me.
Joe Bowes?
Yeah, 443-8963.
Okay, both here in Sudbury.
Right.
Yes.
Thanks very much, and anytime you want to see an authentic demonstration of the contra dances, make sure you're in Sudbury, April 19, go to the Wayside Inn. Thanks for being... Cablevision of Sudbury, Channel TV 61, bringing you the events of Sudbury's 350th birthday celebration. With me right now is Bert Mullen. Bert, of course, is a longtime member of Sudbury, very well known in the community. He is a lieutenant in the company of the Ancient and Honorable Artillery. Bert, you want to tell us a little bit about your company?
Well, the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company was founded in 1638 in Boston. Matter of fact, we just got through celebrating our 350th anniversary ourselves. It's the third oldest military organization in the world and the oldest in the Western Hemisphere. We have a sister company in London called the Honorable Artillery Company, and actually a member of their company founded ours in Boston in 1638. So it was actually founded at the time to fight off the Indians, in the city of Boston. So, and actually there are no Indians around here now, so it must have worked, right?
Well, you may be a little more sure of that than we are, but it sounds like you were incorporated a year before Sudbury in that case.
That's right, exactly. We actually applied for our charter to Governor Winthrop in 1637, and then received it from the King in 1638. So.
Now, how does someone become a member of the Ancient and Honorable?
Well, for the most part, you're invited in by some of the members and people who get to know you around the community or in the city, and they invite you in. And it's a wonderful organization to belong to. There's so many. We've had 4 United States presidents, Medal of Honor winners, and General Alexander Haig just became a member of the company. And we really have a great tradition, so it's fun.
Can I ask you who the presidents are?
Yes, there was Monroe, Chester Arthur, Calvin Coolidge, and Jack Kennedy.
So we have 4 of them. Now, this is a Massachusetts artillery company.
Yes, there is no other company really like it in existence. It's the oldest, and there is no other in the United States. We wear a modern-day uniform because we travel all over the world and participate in parades on every continent. And matter of fact, later this month we have a parade at the bridge on the River Kwai in Thailand.
Is that?
Yeah, a year ago this time we were in Berlin for a wonderful dedication of a plaque there at the Berlin City Hall, commemorating Jack Kennedy's 25th anniversary of Jack's famous speech there. And he, of course, was a member of the company, so we had a grand parade.
Now, I notice you're wearing a couple of ribbons. What's the significance of those ribbons that you're wearing?
Most of the ribbons. This ribbon here is we paraded at Buckingham Palace for the Queen last year, and she presented us with a ribbon of the Honorable Artillery Company. And I believe this one here was, a parade in Portugal one time, and this one was the parade at Berlin City Hall. So they strike a ribbon for it just as a remembrance. All
right. It appears then that what you're wearing are the colors of the flags of those countries that you have visited. Right. So this is a common thing for you then to be in a ceremonial march.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, we parade a lot. Next week, as a matter of fact, next Sunday, we're down in Barnstable celebrating their 350th anniversary. One of our members owns a restaurant down there, and so they show up and support us. Now we'll go back to the house now and have a collation, and it's nice. It's a great organization.
Do I understand that in June you have a special celebration of the Ancient and Honorable with a parade in Boston?
Yes, we parade through the streets of Boston. It's a tradition that on the first Monday in June we have a drumhead election where we cast our ballots on the head of a drum and elect our new captain. In the old days, the military elected their officers. And matter of fact, this year's captain is Joe Milano, and Joey owns the Union Oyster House in Boston. There's an old military guy, and so there's a lot of tradition and history there alone. So we had fun.
Well, maybe we'll return the honor and we'll be watching the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company when they have their party in June. Thank you, Lieutenant Mullen, for being with us.
Thank you.
Damn, they're on course.
This is Cablevision of Sudbury, Channel 61, bringing you the events of the 350th anniversary celebration of the town of Sudbury. With me now is Frank Opius, our Grand Marshal of the parade. Frank has been a long time member of the community of Sudbury, is the innkeeper of the Wayside Inn. Frank, we're so thrilled to have you here as our Grand Marshal.
Well, thank you. It's a high honor and distinct privilege, very humbling to a guy like me. I appreciate the opportunity on behalf of the committee for the 350th anniversary, Beverly Bentley, chairperson, who did a wonderful, fantastic job, including the weather, mind you.
Yes, we couldn't have lucked out better.
Our greetings for this 350th anniversary. It'll be hard to duplicate anywhere along the way, but this is a wonderful, fine parade. An outpouring of all the townsfolk here is so heartwarming, I can't believe it. Greetings from all of us on the committee and the town of Sudbury.
Now, Frank has been one of the people who is very instrumental in establishing the Minute Militia along with other people in Sudbury. So some of the musket fire you heard in the background has been his beloved Militia and Minute company.
Yes, and the Sudbury Fife and Ancient Drum Corps are on target now. If you hear them playing, they're going by.
Yes, they are. If our camera can catch some of them in the background, you'll also hear them and see them.
I'm not sure he can reach over that far, but they're a fine outfit, and I see some of the other fellows who got a little incapacitated along the way. They're out there marching with a cane or something else like that. A fun thing over here, Concord came over in very special limousines to sort of chide us a bit about our rural antics over here in Sudbury. We always have a little contest with them. There's the fellows with a lookout top. Can you believe that? I don't believe it. Concord.
Strictly not 18th century.
Definitely not 18th century.
Well, Sudbury's always been very independent.
We have been always independent. Thank God for that. This town is wonderful for that reason.
And that's why we're celebrating our 350th birthday.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you, our Grand Marshal.
Thank you.
This is Cablevision of Sudbury, Channel 61, bringing you the events of the 350th anniversary celebration of the town of Sudbury. With me right now is Mayor Peter Wong of the town of Sudbury in Ontario, Canada. Mayor Wong, I understand that this is a return pleasure, so to speak, that we helped you celebrate your anniversary and you're helping us celebrate ours.
Well, it is a pleasure for me to be here to share in the celebration of Sudbury's 350th anniversary. 6 years ago, the city of Sudbury in Ontario, Canada was celebrating its 100th birthday, and we had the pleasure of hosting Ann Donald, who was a selectman at that time, to share in our celebration. So we had just a wonderful time, and we had perfect weather, just like you're having perfect weather here, and I just can't think of a nicer place to be than in Sudbury, Massachusetts.
Now, I understand you arrived here on Friday and you folks were staying at the Wayside Inn.
Yes.
Is this your first visit to the inn?
It's not my first visit to the inn, because when we came here 6 years ago, we were hosted there for a luncheon and a reception. But it's the first time I've had the pleasure of staying there, and it's really a very nice, historic place to be.
Now, you mentioned that you had your 100th birthday in Sudbury, Ontario. You're just kids compared to us, apparently.
We're the youngest of all the Sudburys that are here, and we're probably I think we are the largest of the Sudburys. We're 91,000 people in our city, and we make up part of a metropolitan area of about 160,000 people, and we're a mining community, essentially, that got its beginnings just 106 years ago when the Canadian Pacific Railroad was coming through across Canada and struck nickel, which is our predominant mineral, and this started our mining industry, which is still our major industry right now.
Now, at our celebration of the cake cutting, which started on Friday night, you gave the town of Sudbury a gift that had some typical items of your town.
Yes, it's a carving of a bear and a beaver, which are typical of animals in our area of Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. And it's made out of they're made out of ore that comes from 7,000 feet below the surface in one of our deep mines, and it's raw ore, the ore that you would get right from the earth, and from that point it's processed further into the metals that you see all around us.
So this now is going to be on permanent display at our town hall.
Yes, it's presented to the town from our town on this very special occasion of the town of Sudbury. So it really is our pleasure, and we hope that when people from Sudbury, Massachusetts see it and read it, they'll know that there's another Sudbury elsewhere.
Are we on? This is Cablevision of Sudbury, Channel 61, bringing you the events of the 350th anniversary celebration for the town of Sudbury. With me now is Chet Atkins, our congressman from the 5th District representing Sudbury, helping us observe the occasion.
Oh, it's beautiful parade weather, isn't it?
Well, you legislated that.
Right. The 350th committee just did, I think, a spectacular job. In my role as a congressman, I've seen a lot of bicentennial and tricentennials and so forth, but this is certainly one of the best. They've really involved the entire community. They've done things for older folks, for the kids, and the parade was just a terrific parade, and there's a great, wonderful spirit in the town.
Well, we were delighted to have you come down here to be with us, Congressman Atkins. And this is not the only time you've been with us. You've been a pretty faithful member of this particular district. What are some of the things that they have planned for after the parade?
Well, there's going to be a couple of little get-togethers, gatherings for people. A lot of the marchers are pretty weary, I
yes,
think.
Yeah, they'll be ready for some...
From that, I don't know if you saw one group with a strawberry social, and they were waltzing the entire parade route, and those have got to be some exhausted people.
So when do you go back to Washington now?
I'll be going back down early Tuesday morning. We're back in session, back to the real world or the unreal world, depending on how you look at it.
On somebody's view. Well, Massachusetts always manages to get a lot of coffee down in Washington, as I've known.
Well, we do, and these are going to be, I think, some very difficult times for the state, and I think we have some very important projects that are pending before the federal government, but we really need, I think now as we've never needed before, really a close cooperation in the state between our state and local political leaders, our federal political leaders, our financial community, the business community, labor. You look, for instance, a situation with Raytheon. They've done exceptionally well, but people don't appreciate the extent to which the economy in this region, and it's not just the Raytheon employees, but other people and the subcontractors and people who are running small businesses who are reliant on the success of that. And it's going to be a hard couple of years, I think, in terms of they've got some projects that are closing down and some in the pipeline and some competitions, and we're hopeful for it. And that's just one of many, many areas where some decisions that are made on the federal level are going to have an enormous economic impact on people's quality of life here in Sudbury and in Massachusetts.
Well, I'm not especially known for being easy on our politicians, Chet, as I'm sure you know.
For the 350th anniversary, you make an exception, right?
Well, the nice part is I don't really think I have to make an exception for you. I think that really in all of our experience, you have very much watched out for your constituency in Massachusetts, and we're very appreciative of that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words. As you know, we in my business...
Are you ready? Go.
This is Cablevision of Sudbury, Channel 61, bringing you the events of the 350th anniversary celebration of the town of Sudbury. What you see now behind me is the parade breaking up, the final event of our 3-day holiday. And the people responsible for that holiday are with me over here today. I have Beverly Bentley, who is the chairman of the 350th Anniversary Celebration Committee, and also with us is our selectman, Judy Cope. Beverly, you might want to tell us a little bit about what led up to all of these events.
Well, the town commissioned a committee 3 years ago to do a celebration for the 350th. And it sort of just kept going and going and going. And it's the last 3 days with the cooperation of the weather turned out to be spectacular. We're very happy.
And, of course, as our selectman, you legislated some of this weather, Judy?
Certainly. I was counting on some rain because I planted a lot of chrysanthemums around town, which were donated by the Cavicchio greenhouses. It didn't come, so I had to carry some buckets of water around to the planters. I really had nothing to do with any of the program events here, the planning. I'm sure proud of our 350th committee, though, in Beverly. They've done a fantastic job. I haven't missed a minute of any of the events. It's really, really wonderful. Happy birthday, Sudbury.
Now, Beverly, we've had 3 days of events. What did we start off with? Our cake cutting on Friday, and then what did we go on to?
To the dances. It was dances in 5 different locations around the town center. And from walking around and listening to the people, the most gratifying part of it was to see the smiling faces, the relaxed atmosphere. Everybody was just thoroughly enjoying themselves. The next day, what was it? Stop it.
We had the raising of the flag.
Raising of the flag, and
from Mount Rushmore.
The Mount Rushmore flag up at the high school, and that when I saw an elderly gentleman with tears in his eyes, really, that did something to me. The vendors were very happy. The food vendors, as I understand it, that we produced the crowds that they didn't dream of. And then when we capped it off with the laser show last night, that laser show, we had people saying, "Ooh, the oohs and ahs," that they liked it.
That was better than the 4th of July.
Yeah.
The laser show was a real spectacular. Very, very enjoyable. And now that we have the blueprint, Beverly, do you think we may do some of these again? That family day was very successful.
Well, people keep telling me they'd like to see it again next year, and I'm making a list of everybody's suggestions. They're on the committee for next year.
Okay, now on this family day, you had a lot of different stage acts that you brought in.
Yes, we did. No, they're all acts that were hired to keep the afternoon filled up, keep everybody occupied, and I think it worked out. I saw very few unhappy children. Everybody was just taking it easy and enjoying themselves.
So we had shows for the children, we had shows for the grown-ups, we had dances for the young set, we had dances for the, I'm going to say older set because I like to think I'm part of that older set that we're talking about. So
The interesting thing on the dances for the older set, it was a completely mixed crowd at the 17-piece dance band. We are as many teenagers there almost as there were ex-teenagers. So it was very well done, and we were happy. We were just thoroughly. The committee just can't say how happy it is that it worked out.
Well, Judy, what do you think? Will we have a repeat of this? Maybe the 355th?
It'd be great. If Beverly be around to help us out. I hope we're going to send Beverly on a vacation with David.
Oh, good.
That's what we need.
Sounds great.
Well, that sounds only fair. Bringing you from the Celebrations Committee, Beverly Bentley, our Selectman Judy Cope, at the final wrap-up of our festivities on Labor Day, our wonderful, wonderful parade.
Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Cutting of the cake progressed on to Family Day at the high school, a spectacular laser show, and today, on the final day, we had the grand parade for the 350th birthday anniversary celebration. It's been a wonderful weekend. We had wonderful weather. For most, the party is over, but not quite over for some of us. Back in May, a group of our people from Sudbury went to Sudbury, England. At that time, they visited the country, and they were also the guests of the mayor of Sudbury, England, who gave them a wonderful reception. The people who went there now are returning that hospitality. And we're here at the home of Ann Donald, one of the people who went there. And Ann is one of our former selectmen and is going to tell us a little bit about her trip when she went to Sudbury, England. Ann, can you give us a little rundown? You're one of the people who went over. Well, you also went to Sudbury, England, and as I understand it, the party here is for the folks who went to Sudbury, England. And this is now the return party of the final elite group.
Not with all the lovely English people we met, really and truly. They were so lovely to us. They were. We had a wonderful English.
We got royal treatment. My wife said that at the when the Middlesex News called us.
That you got the royal treatment.
So you got royal treatment when we went there to Sudbury, England.
Mm-hmm. We did. Tom, you were probably one of the youngest people who went there.
Yeah, I was under 40.
Thank you, Tom.
I also learned English subtlety when I was over there.
We haven't noticed at this point. But they tell me that you had a pretty good time, even though you had a couple of surrogate mothers and fathers with you. Is that what happened?
No, not really. I was wandering around on my own for a better part of the time, and a few people wanted me to report back to them on the trip I took, even though they weren't on the journey with me.
That's true. Okay, well, maybe there are some things that we're better off not knowing. Is that what I'm hearing?
Most likely, yes.
Okay. And Edgy?
He's the only one that was young enough to run up the hill and see Windsor Castle. The rest of us said, you tell us what it was like when you come down.
You come back and report. This is Edgy Seegers I'm talking to, who was one of our former members of the school committee. Thank you, Edgy.
I'm Janet Russell. I used to live in Sudbury, and I had 3 children graduate from there, and I love Sudbury. It's a beautiful town. And I said, we had such a wonderful time. The people there in Sudbury, England, were so hospitable. I said, I hope that you have had, we've reciprocated on this end. It was lovely, just lovely.
And I'll come back to you in a minute when we can get you over here. And who is our chef? Can I ask you to introduce yourself?
I'm Charlie Pepper.
And you're the cook supreme here? Is that what's
trying
happening?
to be.
His son should be here.
And
my son is a chef. He should be here. I tried to get him to do it.
You didn't have something like this when you went to England, though, did you?
No,
did you
everything was prepared.
New York sirloin.
New York sirloin, no way. Roast beef, and that was it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you, of course, are
Ann
Pepper.
The wife of the chef.
Of the wife, of course.
We had a fantastic time, and everything has been said.
Okay, Ann, what do you think? Are you going to make a return trip?
I certainly hope so. We didn't have enough time there was the problem.
Yeah.
The Mill Hotel was full up for Friday night. We had to go somewhere else, which was a great disappointment. But they rolled with the punches, and they gave us an absolute marvelous lunch at the Four Swans Hotel and took us on a tour of lovely villages all around Sudbury, the Silk Factory in Sudbury, the Gainsborough House, and then they had a reception for us with I don't know how many people at the town hall,
Champagne reception.
including people that have been here, like Tony Moore and his wife. And Stuart Letton was here, I think, with his wife a couple of years ago, and they were at the reception, and it was good fun.
Oh, that's great. I understand that they brought excellent weather with them when they visited you.
Yes,
folks
they
in
did.
Sudbury,
I
England.
did make
They brought it back.
I did make a point of stating in my opening remarks. If you
Saturday
recall,
night.
yes, I
Unfortunately,
said you
nobody-
brought the lovely weather with you. Please stay and please come again. Up to then, we hadn't had a very good spring. So it was more than I dare do, not to return it.
This is Sylvia Byham, the mayor of Sudbury, England. Can you tell us a little bit about the reception that they're giving you such great accolades about? You said you had about 200 people there.
My reception for them. Yes, we when important visitors come to the town and people we care about, it's tradition that all former mayors are invited and their spouses. And the spouses, if they are widows, they're still invited. The town archives involved, the local police, the clergy. So we ended up with 200 people who were drinking champagne. But it was great. It was absolutely great. Lunchtime we went over the top a bit to decorate the hotel, which is a really beautiful hotel, a very old hotel. Charles Dickens used to stay there. I mean, we thought if it was good enough for Charles Dickens, it was good enough for our friends here from the States. And we had a lovely time. But as Anne said, the time went very, very quickly. So a return visit is a must. And I think there are several people in Sudbury here putting their heads together who just might come next year. And there's so much to see. But we did have a super time in the villages, didn't we? Yeah. The thatched cottages, it was lovely. And at one time, I think several people in the vehicle said, "Get on the right side of the road." I'm sure. It was really good.
I'm going to come around on the other side over here now so that I don't get grilled along with the steaks. And Roy, you are, of course, the husband of Sylvia Byham.
That's right.
So you were a host also when our people visited you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm known as a consort. I think I should be known as a shadow. I don't know, a shadow something.
Dennis.
Dennis. Yeah.
So it's been wonderful having you both over
Oh,
here.
we've enjoyed it very much. It's really been lovely.
I know they had such a wonderful time with you that they looked forward to your return trip over here.
Let's hope we can make it.
I now know how Jacqueline Kennedy felt riding in the car, sitting up in the back like I did today, waving to everyone. What a wonderful response. People came up to me and said, "Do you know Coventry? Do you know Sussex?" I was there, you know. How far are you from London? And they just run along the convertible. It's great.
Well, Americans are known to be pretty informal. So.
Yes, they were. They're very kind. Yes. We couldn't have had better weather, could we?
No, we really lucked out. And I guess the person who's going to take credit for all this good weather that came about is probably Beverly and her husband David over here, who did a lot of the work.
Definitely.
Putting this together.
Well, I'm kind of her consort.
Get out.
You're a consort too. Why not? Why not? So, well, I know both of you also were in the tour that went to England. So, what are you thinking? Shall we plan another one for next year?
We're already thinking about it.
Have you got the original 9 or 11? Wasn't it that went?
Nine
of you that went.
There's only one person missing.
Yes.
We're all here.
Dory Whitson, she asked to give her very best wishes to Sylvia and her husband, because she said she has written to him, but she was out of state today and she couldn't get back. And she thoroughly enjoyed.
Coming back tomorrow.
Yep. She really will. Yes.
Good. And all the arrangements were made by Joan Goodstone of Sudbury Travel
Through
Limited.
Appleyard
in London.
Travel agency in London.
Yeah.
We saw more things and covered more ground and did more things, had more good feelings about the whole operation than you could imagine, including our bus driver, whose name was Christopher Columbus Cook, and who did everything for us.
Yeah, he was absolutely a doll.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The last party of our 350th celebration. A wonderful end to a wonderful weekend.
I don't know.
Well, it might have been because he kind of
something or other.
He's
trying to bring that. I'm sure.
You enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it a little.
been up there.